It is time for solo leveling glazing and what might happen after solo leveling success. We got a clip from Sleepy Clips, Gigok's take on solo leveling success and what this means for the anime industry. What does it mean? Tell me.
I think that we are about to enter a new age.
Oh, a new age. Yo, get me excited, man. What's gonna happen? The floodgates are gonna open up and we're gonna have just... Wait, why is the background right now the beginning after the end, though? Yeah, a golden age of anime is about to happen with the success of solo leveling. The next biggest anticipated project, T-Bait, baby.
A new era. Guys, I'm gonna be real. I think the Webtoons takeover is coming. Or at least the webcomic takeover is coming. We've had Webtoon adaptations.
Why is the beginning after the end in this background picture, though? When was this made? I feel like this is a clip of Gigok from the past before the anime even aired, because unless you're having this shit up, you know, like on ironically, I don't know why you would have 2 beta up here as a comparison.
Takeover is coming. We've had Webtoon adaptations before, obviously. Okay. It already is. No. You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. We've had Webtoon adaptations before with Tower of Gods.
That's right.
God of High School and stuff like that. Solo leveling. The success of solo leveling has blown everything out the water. It has opened, to me, this is a canon event. Solo leveling blowing up as much as it has is a canon event, because I think this is going to prove to so many studios that, or so many companies, that you do not need to have an IP from a manga or from a Japanese light novel to...
That's right. You can basically pop off with IPs that's not domestically locked in Japan. Korean material, Chinese material, and why stop at just those 2 countries? I'm sure so much more. Even beginning after the end is technically like American, right? Because yes, it is a Korean person who lives in America, Korean American citizen, publishing his work that looks like a manhwa, webtoon format, but published on an American platform. What's it called? Tapas, right? So I think that it's great. But here's the problem. I think that it's not really Japan gatekeeping Tower of God or God of High School or the other Korean webtoons, because I remember reacting to other videos that was critical about how Korean webtoons kept flopping in Japan. Well, more of the Japanese adaptation of these Korean materials are not anything close to solo leveling. Like, why would this happen? Why would Tower of God Season 2 get done dirty like this? Why would other shows, like maybe even like The Return of this Magic Should Be Special, wasn't even marketed enough, right? And I think the obvious, right? I think the most ignorant but the most intuitive take is Japan is quote unquote racist, which I don't think is the case. But there is this, you know, Japan, Korea, China, they don't really like each other, right? There's a lot of historical events that's been said in the past. I'm not trying to be like, you know, one country is better than the other, but there's a lot of like historical precedents that may make you think that Japan won't acknowledge works outside of what is in their borders, and therefore these Korean adaptations are failing. But that's not the case. The case is a lot of the fault is on the Korean side. Apparently, there is this, like, I don't know exactly how the structuring, the planning happens in terms of, all right, we have a Korean webtoon and now we want it to made to be an anime. Let's get a communication channel open to Japanese studios and negotiate deals to see what's going to happen. Apparently, a lot of the fault lies on Korea's side for cheaping out. Rather than doing the due diligence and setting up the proper foundations and the resources, the budget, the schedule, and blah, blah, blah to properly promote their work, they're choosing to cheap out, is some of the comments that I've read of people who seems to be knowledgeable about more of these overseas, you know, translation of webtoon to anime content. Again, who knows if these people are true or not. All I'm doing is reading comments and trying to think for myself, trying to rationally think what is actually going on here. But yeah, it's nice to see solo leveling pop off so hard. And I think the biggest reason solo leveling pops off so hard is because of how simple it is. Basically, all the reasons people hate and criticize solo leveling is the reason that it pops off. What are the main complaints of solo leveling being bad? It's no story, which I don't agree with. There is a story. It's just that this story is too simple, right? And very surface level to you. Maybe if you are an enjoyer of deep psychological thrillers and profound world building and such, you know, a deeper theme in the story rather than guy gets power and levels up and then beats everyone and aura farms, then yeah, you could say there's no story, but clearly there is a story, right? But because of how simple solo leveling is, it gets a lot of hate for it, and that's why it does so well. The average person doesn't give a fuck about what you want as a hardcore veteran of the anime sphere, where you want some deep writing. Most people come back from work or from school, wants to turn their brain off and watch a show where it is just enjoyable. The simpler it is, the more accessible it is to the average population. So many people, I don't think, grasp like the understanding of how insignificant you are in this grand sphere of what we call the anime community. Because a lot of people are in their isolated bubbles thinking, we are like source material readers. We are so hardcore and we love this shit and we represent everybody. No, you don't. You are a tiny little fucking speck in this ocean of people who are watching anime. And because the average person just wants something simple, they want to turn their brain off, they want to see a character that's relatable, and they want to see the incremental progression of Jinmu going from weakest hero to weakest hunter to this Giga Chad who souls everything. It's so compelling. That's why it does so well, right? First part, the story, right? How simple it is and how relatable people want to be inserting themselves as this main character. He's so cool, he's so hot, it feels like he deserved everything. And on top of that, aside from the story, you have the direction from A1 Pictures, the godlike animators in that team that was able to give life to solo leveling. And basically, you have two parts now, right? You got a very simple and hype story that everyone wants to watch. And then you got a proper adaptation where things are actually fucking moving, unlike the beginning after the end. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And it makes so much sense to me why stuff like Demon Slayer pops off, why stuff like solo leveling pops off. And again, a lot of the criticisms that hate, those people are truly out of touch and they don't understand what the average person wants. You want to go this fucking big and break these kind of records, you have to appeal to the average person. Now, I'm not saying for an anime to be good, you need to appeal to the average person. But if the goal right now is to have the widest appeal, you want to literally hit these normies who don't check out seasonal anime until their friends are like, yo, you should check out Friedren. Yo, you should check out Dan Da Dan, right? Those people I'm talking about. If you want to reach those people and have more normies come in, if that is your goal, you need this level of appeasement to the average person. But I think so many people just don't understand this concept, and they think that their perspective and their little group chats and their little friend group is like how everyone else behaves. And that's just so wrong.
You completely blow up. And I think the new era is coming. I think the new era of not just web comics, but a lot of mid-level web comic adaptations are coming.
Is it coming though? Solo Leveling popped off, but like, where's the other highly anticipated Korean webtoon series that's about to pop off too then? Other than Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, which just keeps getting live action trailers for whatever reason, I haven't heard of anything of this like new wave of Korean webtoons to pop off. Now, then again, Solo Leveling Season 2 just ended this January, right? It hasn't even been half a year yet, right? So obviously these things take time. So within the next like 5 years or so, right? These things take a lot of time. You can't just have, okay, it just ended, now let's just all approve this shit. It's gonna take some time, right? I think within the next like 5 years or so, we're going to be hearing about more series that's recognizable, more hype marketing, and hopefully get an adaptation better than the beginning after the end. 20 webtoon almost under the way, I heard. They're in production. Illicid? All right, type some names. Type some names of these animes. Okay, what is this? Let's start some up. Illicid webtoon anime. What is this? 5 days ago, Illicid manhwa will be receiving an anime adaptation. A lot of manhwas are getting adapted these days. I can't be too excited. I just hope it has more frames than to bait. True. Hope they do the art style well. Source, very credible leaker on Twitter. Surely no one would, surely no one would lie. The Boxer? Okay. The Boxer webtoon anime. Is the Korean webcomic The Boxer is being adapted to an anime with the production Korean animation studio X-Storm. The anime is planned to be 12 episodes. Okay, all right. Anything else? Do you guys any World After the Fall? What is this? Okay, 2 months ago. 2 months ago, this got an S. Has been officially confirmed. Will be produced by Studio Eek. I don't know what the hell that really is. Studio Eek, never heard of it. That's because it's shy and gets scared easily. Ha ha ha. Very funny. I don't have a very good feeling about this one, boys. Anything else? Let's see. Latna Saga? What is this shit? 6 months ago. Latna Saga, Survival of a Sword King webtoon is getting an anime adaptation. Studio Pira. Ooh, hey. That's, I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Studio Pira has done a lot of battle shonens and they have delivered really high quality episodes, right? From what's written here, it seems like Red Dog Culture House, a South Korean studio, will be fully in charge of producing the animation for Latna Saga, Survival of a Sword King. Studio Pira, a Japanese company, is known for the anime like Naruto and Bleach, will only handle distribution. Okay, so they're not really actually animating. They're just distributing. All right, sure. In this context, distribution, yeah, sure, it's all okay. Unlike Solo Leveling, this would be a lot easier to sell in Japan because it's not set in Korea. It's an isekai, it's funny. There's no, yeah, I think that's a big point. Now, you don't need Soul Leveling does have anti-Japan propaganda. Absolutely it does, right? Literally, the Jeju Island raid arc is Japan being a bunch of evil goons trying to rug pull Korea. But despite that being there, it truly, like the international market just genuinely doesn't give a fuck. Domestically in Japan, obviously, it's disrespectful and they had to have a different country and name entirely to kind of cover for that shit. But it's cool to see, you know, all these different projects, you know, come out. Anything else? Tomb Raider King? There's gotta be a fucking... what do you mean Tomb Raider King? What? This is from 10 months ago. This guy just looks like Sung Jin Woo. Right? Dude, that's just Sung Jin Woo, bro. I guess every webtoon character just looks... It's like it's the Kirito effect, right? It's the SAO effect. Everyone loves the Black Swordsman, therefore every, you know, one of these kind of shows just looks like Kirito. Everybody loves Sung Jin Woo, therefore everyone's gonna look like Sung Jin Woo from now on, huh? Alright, there's basically... I'm sure there's a lot more projects that's under its way, but okay, that's cool to hear that these things, you know, are preparing. Now, I wonder about the quality of these shows though, huh? I mean, just because the floodgate has opened doesn't mean that they're all going to be high quality like Solo Leveling. The titles that we've just checked out, the production, I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, but okay, we are getting more adaptations of webtoons.
We might have found the new isekai, man. we might have found the new isekai. Because goddamn, if you think isekai has brain rot, we are about to enter the era of webcomics, man. The brain rot era of webcomics.
Let's go.
I think so. You can point to this, but I will say right now, tell me if I'm wrong. Anyone who's been around the anime community for long enough, I'm gonna be real. Seeing Solo Leveling now gives me the same gut feeling as what I saw when Sword Art Online first blew up in the anime.
I haven't watched Sword Art Online when it blew up back in 2012. But I did hear everything about it and a lot of normies talking about it. So in that aspect, in terms of like a cultural shift and more people tuning into anime because of such a wide appealing show, yeah, I could definitely see that.
Anime community. It has given me that same energy. It has given me that same gut reaction, gut feeling. And I've seen this once before. I have seen this once before. And I'm like, now, especially with season.
And what happened after the explosion of SAO? Did we start to get a bunch of shitty isekais coming in right after? I'm not really sure of the historical timeline, chronologically, of when all these different isekais starts to pop up. I hear that ReZero had a lot of, a big effect on what an actual isekai is, right? Because I feel like SAO at that time, while it is quote-unquote isekai, if you again, the semantics of isekai being other world and video game world, I don't think it was truly a common genre that's been, you know, like just completely saturated and farmed like it's happening right now, right? And I'm not saying ReZero is a bad isekai that's, you know, basically opened the gates for shitty isekais, but ReZero I think is a lot of people's like first actual, you know, actual isekai that opened up the floodgates. If you look at like the graphic map, right? If you look at like, what is this? Most watched anime, 2016, ReZero, right? This shit. Images. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I always remember this one. And I don't know if this is propaganda, but this is 2016 anime on Crunchyroll by country. And look at the color that's been heavily dominated. ReZero, right? Season 1 ReZero. This shit popped off so hard that I thought, oh, this is like the beginning of this huge golden age of isekai happening.
Season two, I feel the wind. I feel the winds changing, man. I don't know, man. This might be a clip that I come back to in like 5 or 10 years. This might be a clip that I come back to in 5 or 10 years. But I feel something. I feel the changing. I feel the change in the winds. But Sword Art Online is actually good.
So is Solo Leveling. I just again don't understand, like, you would glaze SAO, but then shit on Solo Leveling. I think both are just junk food hype aura farming shows that's really fun to watch, just brain turned off.
We have reached 20.
I would honestly say SAO has a deeper storytelling than Solo Leveling, though, actually. I think it does. I think SAO, the way that Kirito explores his own insecurities and vulnerabilities and what it means to take a life and stuff like that in like season 1 and 2. And then season 3 and 4 was more of this whole AI simulation project, which I think is so fascinating considering the next decade or so for us too, right? What does it mean? Do these AIs deserve rights and stuff like that, right? And the way that the whole simulation arc was done in Project Alicization, like that shit was low-key deep. It genuinely was like, damn, this is actually getting profound. We're really like talking about like the value of a human's life and whether or not these AI NPCs are human souls or not. And then you have like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the more that you explore time with Yu-Gi-Oh! And other characters, the more you realize, damn, these AI NPCs actually have more human souls than actual humans. Anyways, there are definitely deeper themes explored in SAO compared to Solo Leveling from an anime perspective so far for me.
25, and now we have gone full circle. We have gone full circle, man.
Anything else?
Oh man.
And it's not just Solo Leveling, right? Because it's also the advent of Donghua, Chinese animation coming in. We got To Be Hero X, obviously, that's happening right now, which I think has exceeded a lot of people's expectations. I don't think a lot of people even are aware of what's happening in To Be Hero X. It's not going that mainstream appeal, unfortunately. Again, you don't need to have mainstream appeal for an anime to be good, but if your goal, again, is to try to have a cultural shift and a lot more eyes being put on this so that more projects like that is going to happen, probably a good idea to be able to appeal to the masses. I think the I don't want to say lack of marketing, but the fact that it has the 3D modeling and the fact that it's a Chinese animation that not a lot of people were kind of talking about leading up to this season is why To Be Hero X isn't as popular as Solo Leveling, even though I think in terms of like how much I enjoy it, like To Be Hero X is on another level right now, man. Like, I gotta say, like, Solo Leveling was very fun. I was very excited and it's very hype, but To Be Hero X, it's, man, it is making motions in silence relatively to the success of Solo Leveling. And you also have Lord of Mysteries coming up, right? You also have Lord of Mysteries coming up, which is going to be just fucking crazy. I'm a bit worried about Lord of Mysteries, though, simply due to the fact that it doesn't have proper distribution channels. It is only in China. It's basically region locked, and there's no way for a Crunchyroll or a Netflix distribution. A lot of people are saying, I'm just going to torrent, I'm just going to stream. But again, you are such an insignificant population in this grand scheme of the anime community that just don't even know how to use those technologies or don't even want to use it, right? And the fact that they also only may have a Chinese dub or an English dub without a Japanese dub, it's definitely going to turn away the regular anime enjoyers. So I'm a bit worried about that, but we'll kind of see. Let's read some comments. Keep in mind, for every good adaptation for Solo Leveling, we're going to get bad adaptations like beginning after the end. I mean, sure, right? Let's just compare Solo Leveling as SAO right now as the thing that lifted the floodgates, and then let's compare the debates as any other. Basically, how many isekais that comes out? That's just fucking garbage, right? It's mid slop, it's enjoyable, but yeah, it's not like, oh, Solo Leveling did well, therefore all these other webtoons are gonna have the same quality. Nah, we're gonna probably getting slops. Solo Leveling quality animation for ORV. Yeah, a lot of people are very excited about that one. Feel like this is highly dependent on how much a Japanese audience like the manhwa, how much Japanese studio cares about pleasing their Japanese audience. Like the same reason Rent a Girlfriend getting more seasons. It's not like what foreigners like or Koreans like, it's what the Japanese like. That is also true. Domestic success is a lot more important in terms of Japanese animation. And that's why I feel like we need to like start moving away from Japanese studios and just being stuck there, right? I think that in terms of what benefits the consumer, it's way better if you have different studios that's willing to put in love and passion into these different projects without caring about what appeals domestically in Japan, right? As a consumer, more competition, more different options, right, to make these products, the better it is for you. What JJK streaming record did it even break? JJK has been bigger and more popular both in Japan and global. I don't know about Japan, but you're understanding how popular Solo Leveling has become in other countries. Absolutely, right? We're talking about the Crunchyroll records, right? We're talking about like how Crunchyroll, the likes, the fastest amount of views and different milestones like that. Crunchyroll isn't the only anime site it's streamed on, but here's the thing. Crunchyroll absolutely is the biggest distributor for international audiences. JJK was streamed in a lot of legal sites too, like Netflix, Hulu, Disney, sure. I know, but like we're talking about these other metrics that exist on Crunchyroll, which obviously exceeded JJK and Demon Slayer and the likes, man. New Isekai, don't know about that. Isekai absolutely floods the seasonal anime charts, and I don't see manhwa adaptations necessarily doing that. Still waiting for Lord of the Mysteries. If the adaptation is good as Solo Leveling, but if it's as good as Debate, then no. That's a bit of an exaggeration. Solo Leveling has been a success, but without its flaws. That's the only series that's more like successful. But what are you talking about? We're talking about how so many people just don't have the fucking like media comprehension and just like understanding like what Giga's trying to say. We're saying Solo Leveling was so widely successful that it's gonna light a fire in this new era of other webtoon animations. It's probably not gonna have the same quality, but it's gonna be as good, man. It's still One Piece era we see after 10 years. One Piece is honestly boomer content. It's still going hard, but I don't think One Piece is, you know, lighting a fucking fire. Right now, One Piece is probably one of the last, you know, OG battle shonens that's carrying the torch. It's about to die down, but I hope it keeps going. For all the flaws, SAO had a season 1. It sounds pretty decent. Yeah. How funny if that happens since Solo Leveling and SAO are done by A1 Pictures. Also true. Didn't even think about that, huh? A1 Pictures did do SAO and Solo Leveling. So, you know what? Yo, A1 Pictures truly are carrying. Let's see. I'm more ready for people to hate on season 3 because after Jeju Island, they start to realize how mid the show actually is, lol. We'll see about that. A lot of people are dooming about, and I was saying that shit too, about how power scaling for these kind of shows, in the beginning, it's a lot fun and exciting because of the underdog story, but as you get stronger and stronger, what's gonna happen? Things start to get convoluted. The power scaling gets so ridiculous that nothing really seems genuine that much. You see all these special powers and effects happening, but it's not as impactful as the beginning because, again, how powerful everyone else got. But we got the whole national level of hunters, you know, plot going on with the monarch system, so I'm looking forward to it. And still more rom-com anime when I open anime website estimates. I don't know why this guy just hates on rom-coms. Let's see. Solo Leveling, Supercube, manhwa animation is getting to a different level. Solo Leveling is a manhwa with a W, which is Korean. Supercube is Chinese with the U. That's a donghua. It's Chinese. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I think that this is great, right? Solo Leveling appealing so hard, reaching these levels that I don't think A1 Pictures even expected. Now it's going to have that SAO effect, and over the next decade or so, we're going to probably get more of, you know, this kind of shit. So I really want like, obviously more shows to watch, but I just want other options, right? Other options as in different studios that's outside of Japan that's able to make shows like that so that we're not dependent on like domestic success in Japan to see whether or not something's going to continue. Anyways, that's pretty much it for me. Please check out Sleepy Clips. Here's the link to the video. Go check out their channel for more Giga adjacent content, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.